Have you ever made one small decision that ended up changing everything? That's exactly what happened to two best friends on an ordinary Sunday morning. And by the end, nothing about their friendship would feel the same again. Maya and Clara had lived in the same busy city their whole lives. Every single weekend, without fail, you could find them wandering the same familiar streets, sipping coffee, window shopping, and talking about absolutely nothing and everything at once. It was comfortable. It was safe. It was their routine. But Maya, 24 years old and always chasing the next thrill, was tired of comfortable. She craved adventure the way some people crave sunshine after a long winter. Clara, on the other hand, 23 and happiest with a blanket and a good book, avoided anything that sounded remotely risky. Adventure was Maya's language. It was not Clara's. One Friday evening, Maya turned to her best friend with the spark in her eyes and said the words Clara was dreading. "Let's go hiking this weekend." Clara laughed at first, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. These two city girls who had never so much as walked a nature trail were about to attempt a mountain. Saturday was spent packing. Badly. Neither of them owned real hiking gear, and honestly, neither of them thought they needed it. How hard could walking up a hill really be? Sunday morning arrived, and they drove to the park at the edge of the city, eyes fixed on the mountain rising in the distance. They were determined to reach the very top. There was just one small problem. They were dressed for absolutely anything except a hike. Maya showed up in her running shorts and sneakers. Clara wrapped herself in a giant, cozy sweater that looked perfect for a coffee shop and completely wrong for a trail. The climb was brutal almost immediately. Their legs burned, their breath grew short, and the tiny bottle of water they'd packed disappeared within the first hour. Thankfully, they hadn't skimped on snacks. Their bag was overflowing with food, which felt like the one thing they'd gotten right. Then came the squirrels. A curious little one approached them first, and the girls melted, trying to befriend it, tossing it little pieces of food. But word must have traveled fast in the squirrel world, because suddenly a whole gang of them showed up, and they were not friendly. Maya and Clara found themselves practically hurling food at the ground just to keep the pushy little creatures at bay, laughing so hard they could barely breathe. Exhaustion set in fast. They were tired, thirsty, and hungrier than they wanted to admit. To make things worse, there was no phone signal anywhere on the mountain, which meant no internet, no maps, no way to check how much farther the summit actually was. They were completely, utterly lost in the middle of nature. Two city girls with zero sense of direction. Eventually, they had to face the truth. The summit wasn't happening today. Defeated, sunburned, and blistered, they turned around and made their way back down to the park entrance, the mountain peak still towering untouched above them. But just when it felt like the whole day had been a disaster, Maya had an idea. They ducked into a small shop near the entrance and bought 2 steaming cups of tea and a couple of sandwiches. Then they climbed into the car, rolled the windows down, and watched the sun sink below the horizon together, the sky painting itself in shades of orange and pink. Maya smiled as she watched the colors fade. She hadn't reached the top of the mountain like she'd planned, but she'd gotten something better. The change she'd been searching for all along, and somehow that was enough.